All
I
right.
like it.
So I don't have a new trade to get into. I have a question on trade management. And you did such a wonderful
Okay.
job yesterday, just talking about waiting for confirmation and waiting for Marty and all that good stuff, right? And then every now and then, Marty does break the trampoline. And 2 weeks
100%.
ago, on November 9th, we were looking at good old Roku. And I
Yo.
came to you I
Okay.
came to you trying to do a little tricky hat thing and doing a straddle strangle. And
You
you were
try to
like,
get
look,
creative.
I was trying to get cute. I was trying to get cute. And I
You
didn't
came
need to
to
get
a you
cute.
came to a Delta dog trying to do straddles and strangles and things that Tyler geeks out on. I'm like, what are we doing?
If you look at this on a weekly, you can see why. We can do a little bit of a recap of what happened. I'll give you that what happened was story. So if you look at it on a weekly, I was looking at it sitting at that support zone at that 270 range, right? And I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it
is
was
it
it was
going to
right
hold?
in the support range. We were
Yep.
dealing with this doji candle. I remember it well. Yes.
Exactly. And my thought process was, are the buyers going to step in and buy this thing up, or are the bears going to keep knocking it down? So I was trying to get cute and fancy and go either direction because I really didn't care. I just want to make some money.
By
And
the
then we
way,
had a
not bad
conversation.
analysis either. Like
Yep.
you got some good movement coming into support. You know what support can do if it holds and pounds back up. Great. If it breaks, you know what can happen there. It's not bad timing for the straddle. I felt the edge was to direction here.
Yep, exactly. And I was leaning a little bit, on the bear side of that, but I had a little bit of a hesitation, right?
Yeah, it
So we
happens.
talked it through and we decided we could do a bear call and pick up some
Okay.
cash flow, which is what I love to do. And then we were looking at it and we're like, yeah, but we can also go directional and do a bear put. So we
Hmm.
build out a bear put. And I believe the strikes that we did, because I want you now to help me with the management of this trade.
Oh, I
So I'll read
like
you out the
this.
strikes and I want you to tell me what the queen should do on Roku. So what we built out was the 250 and 225 January.
Yeah, we were an out of the money put spread, I believe,
Yep, we
right? We
went
were
a
out
little
of the
bit out
money
the
put
money
spread.
because we were looking at it to get to around 250.
Hmm.
That was kind of like where we were targeting was 250. So
That
we
was that
bought the
first.
two.
That was T1.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So we got the 250 and sold the 225.
Which is where
And
we are currently at.
which is where we're currently at. So if you were to rebuild this from you on the analyze tab, cost wise, I got in at 640.
Okay.
Now my question is, obviously the trade's been profitable. It's been
Good trade.
very profitable.
You're about at max limit right now.
But Christmas is around the corner.
Mama wants to get paid.
Mama needs to get paid a little bit more because we
Mama
gotta
got
go do
Mama
some
got
Christmas
Black Friday
shopping.
sales coming down the pike.
And here's why I'm going with this, because normally this would be a no-brainer. I'll take profit, but the reason I'm hesitating on taking profit and wanting to stay in a little bit longer. Coach Mark yesterday was talking about the ARC fund, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Roku is the number 2 holding in the ARC fund. Tesla being number 1. That one's getting,
Yeah.
the ARC fund is
Kathy Wood,
getting
you might
beaten
want
up,
to
right?
reevaluate that.
So, when you're looking you're looking at the ARC, you're like, okay, this is still continuing in a downtrend. If the number 2 holding in the ARC fund is
And it
Roku,
just broke support literally today.
there you go. So that's where my hesitation. So this is so funny. My hesitation when I got into the trade was, I was hesitating going with the bear situation, but now it's bearish and I'm hesitating taking profit. You see how traders just get all confused? Like we just create
Listen,
problems for
we
ourselves.
traders we get hesitant all the time.
All the time, all the
All the
time. And
time.
this is why it's so good to have people you can bounce ideas off to and have this conversation and, make sure that you're making a logic, decision and not just based on emotion, because I'm a little bit emotional right now. I'm like, okay, mama needs some money, but I could also take the profit. So my question to you is it profit taking time, partial profit, or just roll this sucker some more and keep the game going?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, you're at target. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, right? And let me put it like this: when you did that bear call spread, or excuse me, the bear put spread, you bought the 250 and you
Yep.
sold the 225, correct? Okay.
Correct.
And that's where we were kind of looking at that net 25 delta. We were doing an out of the money with the expectation that it was going to get in the money. Okay. That's done. That's over. We achieved everything that your dreams set out to achieve. You got to your 225. Think about it like this. You sold the 225 put strike. You're at 225. Okay. You met your target. So a decision, and it doesn't mean the trade is over. It just means a decision needs to be made. That's all it means, right?
Yeah.
You have, and you nailed the three options here. Either one, just kill the trade. Great trade. Okay. That's, you asked me a question.
Say thank you to the bear gods and say,
you're like, does Biden get a golf clap? No.
No.
You don't get a golf clap for dropping a drop in the Pacific Ocean. No.
Oh man.
Damn, you get a golf clap for nailing your target at 275 though. At 225, that's fantastic.
You get a golf clap too because you helped me with the trade. So
listen,
we both get
a golf clap. I get a golf
you get a golf. Everybody gets a golf clap. Hopefully everybody in Team Tackle. Yeah, hopefully everybody in Team Tackle gets a golf clap because this wasn't the options report. It wasn't the options report, Team Tackle. So hopefully you grabbed that one too from a couple of weeks ago.
The question number one is this. The trade worked to the way you expected it to work. Okay. Nobody in the world would fault anybody for locking that in and just calling it a day. Okay. Couple things. Number one, you're a little bit overextended on ROKU at this point, right? You're a little bit overextended. You got some random volatility in the areas of the market where ROKU is embedded in. You got ARK, you got the NASDAQ. So there is some concern with that volatility, but the simple reality is I kind of feel like ROKU keeps on going down.
I know.
Right? I mean, it literally is a proverbial falling knife here. So the question you have is, for me, if your expectation is ROKU is going to continue to go down, but there's some hesitation, I would suggest scaling a little. Right? Coach Gino Port, like he's never met an opportunity to go break even that he didn't take. Like it's like his number one favorite thing to do. If he's in an investment, like literally, if he's in an investment and intraday he shows profit, he's like, if I can take a little bit off the table and get a risk-free trade, I'm good. Right? Yep. And so that's never a bad thing. That is never a bad thing. And so I do think it would be appropriate to scale out of the equation. But you got to do something because if it just continues to go down from here, you're not going to make money. The net delta between your two is going to be the fairly equal at a fairly quick point.
Right.
And so you're just not going to be making as much. So number one, you need to just take off the put you sold and just keep the long put, but then that would be very aggressive. You got a deep in the money put option with a tremendous amount of value and you got nothing covering it, which means if ROKU turns from here and you gave up all your profit and then some,
and then some,
and the simple reality is ROKU would be much lower in price than when you originally made the trade, but simply because your failed management, you turned a winner into a loser.
Big loser.
I don't like uncovering that.
Nope.
Which means I think the best opportunity here is we got a prolonged weekend. Okay, we got a prolonged weekend. We're at our target number 2. The trade worked to perfection based on everything we discussed. Why don't you just pull the trade, lock profit in, go enjoy Black Friday sales on Amazon, and then let's wait for that next low base and drill it again. The other option you have, so that's option number 1. Okay. The trade worked, just close it. Just close it. Remove the concern, remove the worry. Number 2 is you can roll it up, you can roll it down and out. You could certainly do that. Right now you got a 250 by 275 put spread. Okay. You could reassess the situation and roll it to a 250 by 200, a 225 by 300 option.
Mm-hmm.
You could, and excuse me, I believe we were working January.
Yeah, we were January.
I believe we were working January.
We were
So
in January.
originally, this is what we were. We were 250 by 225. The
Mm-hmm.
price was all the way up here. Okay, we were
Mm-hmm.
working out of the money. Now you're 225 by 200. And so you could reassess the situation. If you still like the trade, you still think it's going to continue to go down, you could roll it down to the 225 by 250 by 200, or we could just go 200 by 175. The question I have for my queen is how much do you think Roku is going to go down here?
I don't know. And I don't have the brain power
Technically,
to try to analyze this right now. It's almost Turkey Day.
technically, you're range down. Okay, so let's go to the weekly chart. You're range down.
Ooh, look at
Okay.
that moving average forming on the 200.
Oh, it's got to be a target on the buy side. But in looking at this, you got a little support at 225, 230,
Mm-hmm.
but you really don't have support until 200. That's your support level. Anything can happen in the market, but I would be a little surprised technically if we didn't at least test 200 here. You got a lot of momentum to the downside. ARC just clipped support. Most likely ARC's going to test 100. And when you look at ARC, the selling in
Ooh,
ARC begets the selling in Roku. Because if you're selling ARC as a fund, guess what you're also selling?
and you're selling Roku.
Roku. Okay. Roku just, excuse me, ARC just clipped support at 107. I would be shocked if ARC doesn't test 100. In that same time frame, a $4 movement in ARC is easily
Almost.
a $20 movement in Roku.
Uh-huh.
Easily. And so I kind of feel like we're going to test that 200. I kind of feel like ARC's going to test that $100 range. And so it wouldn't be bad to reassess and to roll it down and out. But again, I think we're nickel and diming a really good trade here, Em.
I'm trying to be
I
greedy.
think we're getting cute on a really good trade. And so I just, over my career, and don't get me wrong, I love trade management as much as the next guy. When to lock down risk graphs, when to open them up on covered calls is one of my favorite topics, one of my favorite conversations you can have. But when it comes to advanced option strategies, like spreads, debicons, iron condors, I've just felt that a lot of times option traders have a tendency to get too cute. They have a tendency to get too creative. You have a great trade that worked to perfection. Let's just call it. Let's call it a day and enjoy Thanksgiving.
So what you're saying is don't be greedy on the trade, be greedy on Thanksgiving dinner is what I heard. Eat, have a second round of that dessert.
If you're
Not
thinking about your Roku trade management on Thanksgiving, you did something wrong. Yes,
exactly.
that's what I am saying. What I'm also saying is this: as a trader, in a moment of decision where we can always get back into the trade, just pull the trade.
Yeah.
If there's some hesitation, and again, we're dealing with max potential here, right? Max, I mean, queen, my greedy little queen. We're dealing with max profit here.
It's not me, it's the children. Their toys are expensive.
Listen, that inflation is hitting all of us, Em. But I get your point. My recommendation, and that's all I can give to my queen, is my recommendation, right? Yeah. My recommendation, based on everything you talked to me about, based on everything I'm seeing in the marketplace, the projection I think you have to have is it goes down to 200. But how much are you impacting the original trade by trying to squeeze every little drop out of that lemon?
Exactly.
And so what I would suggest is you can only make decisions based on the information you have at hand. And right now, even though we both feel like it goes down to 200, if you had sold the 200, I would have a different response than if you sold the 225, but you didn't. You sold the 225, and I'm sorry, it just was too successful. It was too successful. It got there too fast.
Too fast.
But I digress. great trade. My recommendation would be let's pull it and reassess the situation post Thanksgiving, because even though I feel like 200 is a target on Roku,
Mhm.
I don't feel it's the final target on Roku.
All right.
I think Roku certainly could come down into that 150, 160 range. And so I think we reassess after that next pattern establishes itself.